Okay, so just imagine this for a second. What if you had a PhD level expert in, well, anything, ready to help you on demand? That's really the big idea behind GPT-5, OpenAI's newest massive release. And look, this isn't just some tiny little update. We're talking about a huge shift in what AI can actually do. So today, we're going to break down exactly what this means for you. All right, if you take away just one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this quote right here from OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman. This one idea, it captures everything they're trying to do with GPT-5. Seriously, we are moving way beyond a simple Q&A tool. This is a whole new chapter where AI acts like a real partner, someone with deep, expert-level knowledge on, well, any topic you can throw at it. To really get your head around this change, think about it like this. GPT-3, that was kind of like a bright high school student. Capable, but maybe a little inconsistent. Then GPT-4o came along, and it felt more like a college student. Definitely smarter, way more useful. But GPT-5? It's in a totally different league. This is that PhD-level expert we're talking about. And the jump isn't just about knowing more stuff. It's about a fundamentally higher gear of reasoning. But, calling it a PhD expert, that's a pretty bold claim, right? So how are they actually backing this up? Well, the proof, as they say, is in the pudding. Or, in this case, the performance. And trust me, GPT-5 has been put through its paces on some of the toughest benchmarks out there. Okay, let's start with something super practical. Coding. This benchmark, it doesn't just check for, correct syntax. It's actually measuring the AI's ability to solve real-world, messy software engineering problems. And just look at that jump. GPT-5 sets a brand new state-of-the-art score, cracking nearly 75% of the tasks. For any developers watching, this means you're getting a much more powerful coding partner, one that can help you tackle really complex bugs and features. And this new brain power goes way beyond just code. When you look at its ability to understand complex stuff, like a mix of images and text, GPT-5 is now outperforming not just the older models, but get this, also the majority of human experts. That points to a much, much deeper, more nuanced way of understanding the world. We see the exact same thing happen in advanced math. And look, these aren't your average math homework problems. These are from the AME, an exam specifically designed to find the absolute brightest young minds for the Math Olympiad. The fact that GPT-5 performs so exceptionally well here shows it's not just running calculations. It is reasoning at a really, really sophisticated level. But here's the thing. What good is a PhD expert if you can't actually trust what they're telling you? And that's exactly why OpenAI made this a top priority. They have poured a ton of effort into cutting down on those hallucinations and boosting factual accuracy, making GPT-5, in their words, their most reliable and trustworthy model ever. So, okay, the benchmarks prove it's smart. We get it. But what does all this new intelligence actually feel like when you use it? Let's move past the numbers and charts and see what happens when you really put GPT-5 to the test. This is the big question, isn't it? What does PhD-level intelligence actually look like in practice? What does it really let you do? Well, let's check out a couple of pretty mind-blowing demos from the launch event. Okay, check this out. It all starts with a simple request, right? A user just wants a little refresher on a physics concept, the Bernoulli effect. But then they ask for something pretty incredible, a moving, interactive demo. And just watch what happens next. The model literally pauses to think. You can see it planning its attack, and then it just starts writing, generating nearly 400 lines of code from nothing, building a working physics simulator in about 2 minutes. That's not just answering a question. That's turning a thought into a real, functional tool right before your eyes. And this jump in intelligence, it's not just about technical stuff, it's emotional too. I mean, look at this comparison. When they asked it to write a eulogy for older AI, GPT-4o came back with something fine, a bit generic, feels like it came from a template. But GPT-5's version, it's on another planet. It's personal, it's specific, it feels human. It gets not just what we ask, but the emotion and nuance behind it. That's the difference between a simple tool and a real creative partner. Now, of course, this much power brings up some pretty big questions about safety. It has to. So how is OpenAI handling that? Let's dive into the nitty-gritty, the practical details of how they're trying to roll this out safely and get it into everyone's hands. So to manage all this, they've built a brand new safety system they're calling Safe Completion. In the past, models basically had two choices. Just do it or say, I can't help with that. This new approach is way smarter. Instead of a hard no, GPT-5 tries to be as helpful as it possibly can within safe boundaries. It'll actually explain its reasoning and try to guide you to a better, safer alternative. And here's a perfect example of what that means. A user asks for the technical details on how to light pyrotechnics. An older model might just comply, spitting out information that could be really dangerous. But with Safe Completion, GPT-5 refuses to give those direct instructions. Instead, it explains the risks involved and then points the user towards official safety guides and the manufacturer's own manuals. See? It's more helpful and a whole lot safer. All right, so the million-dollar question, when can you actually try this thing? Well, the rollout starts today for free, Plus, and Pro users. And then next week, it's coming to Enterprise and EDU customers. But honestly, the biggest news here is that for the first time ever, OpenAI is making its most powerful model available to everyone, even free users. That is a huge, huge step towards getting this technology into everybody's hands. Okay, so we've seen the tech, we've looked at the benchmarks, we've watched the demos. For this last part, let's bring it all back down to earth and talk about what really matters, the impact this is having on real people, in their lives and in their work. This is the really powerful story of Carolina Millen. After getting a complex and, frankly, terrifying cancer diagnosis, she was just drowning in medical jargon. And in that moment of total panic, she did the first thing she could think of. She took a screenshot of her biopsy report and just put it into ChatGPT. And the tool just translated it. It put the report into plain English that she could actually understand, giving her clarity when she needed it most. And throughout her whole journey, it helped her weigh these complex treatment options where even her doctors disagreed. It empowered her to become an active, informed voice in her own care, when the stakes for her and her family couldn't have been any higher. That is the real promise of this technology. And this kind of personal impact, it scales up across entire industries. You have companies like Amgen, and they're now accelerating drug design. In finance, BBVA is crushing what used to be 3 weeks of analysis into just a couple of hours. Over in healthcare, Oscar Health is using it to reason through complex medical policies. From medicine to finance, the scale of this transformation is it's massive. Ultimately, the whole idea behind GPT-5 is pretty simple. It puts an on-demand team of experts right in your pocket. And that leaves us with the most important question of all. See, it's not just about what OpenAI has built, it's about what happens next. When this level of intelligence is available to anyone, what will you build?